Doubt lingers like night fog, and you wonder whether today will carry yesterday's failures into the light. Yet as the horizon blinks open, dawn whispers that your stumbles are not the story's end. In the hush before birdsong, you feel the chill of mistakes still clinging. But this quiet is a sanctuary where the Creator's kindness waits to breathe renewal over you. He is your refuge, steadfast, compassionate, never fatigued by repeated pleas. In this pause, you choose to release plans and perfection, trusting His gentle footsteps to guide what follows. So Lamentations 3:2-23, new mercies rise with every dawn, reminding you that divine love resets the ledger and invites hope. What burden of guilt will you hand over? Which hidden longing will you place on heaven's open palm? Now, as your heart grows still, we step into the first light of a greater story. You stand at the lip of morning, where dark and light exchange vows, and the eastern sky pours gold across rooftops like holy oil. That first shaft of brilliance does not wait for you to earn it, neither does mercy. You breathe deeply, letting cool air cleanse lungs that once sighed over errors, now dissolved in sunrise. Everything around you testifies. The quiet rustle of leaves, the hesitant chirp of a sparrow, even the faint perfume of jasmine still dewy from night's tears. All proclaim a loving Father who has already separated your flaws from your identity. Psalm 103:112, as immeasurably as east stretches from west, so completely does God remove your guilt, leaving room for freedom to flourish. Listen to the gentle rhythms of grace, the pulse in your wrist aligning with the heartbeat of heaven, the steady sweep of wind brushing curtains, like unseen hands smoothing out wrinkled pages. Each moment is a fresh canvas splashed with light. No blot recalls the ink of regret. You trace the outline of a new beginning. Hearing a silent invitation, leave the grave clothes of shame folded neatly by the door of dawn and step barefoot onto promised washed grass. Remember the story of Peter, once sinking, then steady, once denying, then declaring, because mercy's dawn rewrote his narrative. In the same tenderness, you receive power to greet the coming hours unburdened. Imagine conversations free of self-defense. Tasks approached without fear of failure. Relationships warmed by patience you could never manufacture on your own. That is the horizon stretching before you now. Yet mercy is not passive, it calls forth response. You notice how the sun does more than illumine. It coaxes buds to open and fields to grow. Likewise, compassion awakens dormant courage within you. Feel its gentle nudge urging you to forgive the co-worker who spoke careless words, to apologize where silence once defended pride, to lift another soul before your own feet have found stable ground. Pause, let your pulse slow. With every exhale, release another fragment of self-blame. With every inhale, welcome the oxygen of grace. Even if clouds roll in later, the memory of this radiance will linger beneath their shadows, reminding you that mercy remains, whether seen or veiled. As the city stirs to life, you carry dawn inside, an inner flame immune to winds of accusation. Gaze once more at the widening light. Notice how it refuses to rush, expanding in deliberate kindness. So too does the Father's compassion steady, patient enough for each ticking second. You are invited to live at that pace, neither sprinting to prove nor crawling beneath shame's weight, but walking upright, heart unchained, eyes lifted. The day is young and so are you in grace. You let the rising light reveal yesterday's missteps without flinching, the way a field accepts dawn's honest glow. No longer do you hide blunders in shadow. Instead, you lift them like stones from your chest, feeling their cold weight warm and crumble in generosity's blaze. Each confession is a seed exchanged for freedom, spoken softly into morning wind that scatters regret beyond recall. The rooster's cry reminds you, even the one who denied his Savior 3 times was welcomed back into friendship, proving that compassion outruns collapse. So you breathe slow, allowing shame to loosen its grip, and sense creation itself joining in relief as a husher absolution spreads across the waking earth. Picture the Jordan River when Israel crossed, muddy banks bearing footprints that remembered slavery. Yet waters parted, and those prints were never retraced. Likewise, the stream of kindness parts before you, inviting steps where guilt cannot follow. You do not erase the past, you let love reframe it as testimony rather than indictment. In the quiet that settles after distant traffic fades, you hear echoes of heaven celebrating every burden surrendered. Silence becomes applause for freedom reclaimed. Or Isaiah 4:3-19. The Holy One urges you to forget former things, because He is already carving roads through wilderness and causing rivers to spring from wasteland, so your story can flourish anew. A gentle breeze lifts hair from your eyes, clearing vision to savor subtle marvels. The spiral ascent of a lark, dew pearls trembling on spider silk, the aroma of baking bread drifting from a neighbor's window. Ordinary wonders turn to sacraments when filters of failure fall away. Your pulse aligns with pardon, steady and sure, shoulders loosen as if grace massages every knot of tension tied by self-accusation. Let the morning routine become liturgy. When soap meets skin, remember you are washed. Binding shoelaces, picture sandals readied for paths of peace. As water touches lips, taste the promise of unending second chances. Name aloud the lessons hidden in mistakes: humility, empathy, resilience. Keep the wisdom, discard the lash. Every misstep now serves growth, not condemnation. Watch the sun ascend. It never apologizes for yesterday's clouds. Neither must you wait in self-doubt. Instead, speak blessing over places once scarred by haste. Whisper calm into the room where harsh words echoed. Pray tenderness over the desk where shortcuts birthed errors. Imagine healing ripples through friendships strained by misunderstanding. Compassion offered to yourself becomes courage extended to others. Finally, stand at an open window. Inhale crisp air that carried your admissions heavenward, then exhale trust that they will not return. The day stretches, vibrant and unstained, eager to be colored by obedience rather than regret. You step forward lighter, aware that forsaking mistakes is not denial but sacred exchange. Ashes for beauty, sorrow for songs. Walk on. The ground ahead has already been kissed by the footprints of mercy. You draw a deliberate breath, letting cool dawn air surge through chest and settle in hollow spaces once padded by exhaustion. With each inhalation, you imagine the Spirit hovering over first light waters, stirring ripples of possibility across your soul's surface. With every exhalation, you surrender stale sorrows that no longer deserve residence. Windows stand cracked, just enough for a silvery draft to enter, lifting curtains and hopes alike, proving that renewal slips through even the smallest opening. Imagine dew beads trembling on rose petals, warmed by early brilliance until they vanish into fragrance. So your failures evaporate, leaving only the aroma of gratitude. Shoulders roll back, ligaments lengthen as though grace itself coaxes posture upright. A faint chorus of sparrows practices scales beneath the eaves, inviting your lungs to sing their own rhythm of surrender and anticipation. Ezekiel 36:6, the Creator pledges to trade stony chambers for tender flesh, breathing a fresh spirit within so you answer Him with living obedience instead of reluctant duty. You turn toward the kettle's soft hiss, steam rising like miniature clouds, and cradle a mug warmed by the promise of newness. As water swirls over tea leaves, color unfurls, an everyday miracle teaching that hidden potential waits to be released by gentle heat. Swirl once, watch pigment deepen, and recall how adversity can steep courage until its hue becomes unmistakable. You sip slowly, letting warmth travel through veins, distributing renewal to fingertips already poised for kindness. Step outside for a moment. A low breeze combs through trees, shaking loose yesterday's dust. Fallen leaves skitter across pavement, making room for buds covertly forming beneath bark. Renewal often begins underground, unseen, but morning encourages patience with processes still gestating. You pause by a garden bed, noticing tender shoots that breached soil overnight. Gratitude rises for similar breakthroughs, emerging in quiet corners of character. Gentleness where impatience once ruled. Perseverance where resignation had taken root. Deep breaths continue, paced to the steady cadence of a heart synchronized with grace. Picture lungs as twin bellows fanning an inner flame that once smoldered beneath regrets. Now it crackles with warmth destined to illuminate hallways of thought throughout the day. When doubt approaches later, you will remember this glow and feed it another breath of scripture, another sigh of prayerful trust. Carry renewal into routine. Let emails receive replies steeped in patience. Let footsteps down crowded corridors radiate calm. Let conversations bear the scent of hope instead of fatigue. If schedules tighten, pause briefly. Inhale, count mercy's measure. Exhale. Surrender tension to the one who numbers your days. Just as the horizon widens minute by minute, your capacity for compassion expands, oxygenated by divine nearness. The sun now stands higher, yet its rays remain soft, like hands on your shoulders commissioning you forward. You inhale once more, feel ribcage stretching to accommodate broader faith. Then step inside, knowing every subsequent breath is an agreement to live renewed. You are not gasping for survival, you are breathing resurrection. You draw a deliberate breath, letting cool dawn air surge through chest and settle in hollow spaces once padded by exhaustion. With each inhalation, you imagine the spirit hovering over first light waters, stirring ripples of possibility across your soul's surface with every exhalation. You surrender stale sorrows that no longer deserve residence. Windows stand cracked, just enough for a silvery draft to enter, lifting curtains and hopes alike, proving that renewal slips through even the smallest opening. Imagine dew beads trembling on rose petals, warmed by early brilliance until they vanish into fragrance. So your failures evaporate, leaving only the aroma of gratitude. Shoulders roll back, ligaments lengthen as though grace itself coaxes posture upright. A faint chorus of sparrows practices scales beneath the eaves, inviting your lungs to sing their own rhythm of surrender and anticipation. Ezekiel 36:6, the Creator pledges to trade stony chambers for tender flesh, breathing a fresh spirit within, so you answer Him with living obedience instead of reluctant duty. You turn toward the kettle's soft hiss, steam rising like miniature clouds, and cradle a mug warmed by the promise of newness. As water swirls over tea leaves, collar unfurls, an everyday miracle teaching that hidden potential waits to be released by gentle heat. Swill once, watch pigment deepen, and recall how adversity can steep courage until its hue becomes unmistakable. You sip slowly, letting warmth travel through veins, distributing renewal to fingertips already poised for kindness. Step outside for a moment. A low breeze comes through trees, shaking loose yesterday's dust. Fallen leaves skitter across pavement, making room for buds covertly forming beneath bark. Renewal often begins underground, unseen, but morning encourages patience with processes still gestating. You pause by a garden bed, noticing tender shoots that breached soil overnight. Gratitude rises for similar breakthroughs emerging in quiet corners of character. Gentleness where impatience once ruled. Perseverance where resignation had taken root. Deep breaths continue, paced to the steady cadence of a heart synchronized with grace. Picture lungs as twin bellows fanning an inner flame that once smoldered beneath regrets. Now it crackles with warmth destined to illuminate hallways of thought throughout the day. When doubt approaches later, you will remember this glow and feed it another breath of scripture, another sigh of prayerful trust. Carry renewal into routine. Let emails receive replies steeped in patience. Let footsteps down crowded corridors radiate calm. Let conversations bear the scent of hope instead of fatigue. If schedules tighten, pause briefly. Inhale, count mercy's measure. Exhale. Surrender tension to the one who numbers your days. Just as the horizon widens minute by minute, your capacity for compassion expands, oxygenated by divine nearness. The sun now stands higher, yet its rays remain soft, like hands on your shoulders commissioning you forward. You inhale once more. Feel ribcage stretching to accommodate broader faith. Then step inside knowing every subsequent breath is an agreement to live renewed. You are not gasping for survival, you are breathing resurrection. You step into mid-morning brightness, carrying reserves of compassion gathered at dawn. And the world around you becomes a riverbed eager for the current now flowing through your veins. The cashier who fumbles coins, the cyclist stalled by a flat tire, the colleague whose sigh betrays hidden ache. Each is a shoreline waiting for the gentle lap of benevolence. Kindness spills first in simple gestures, unhurried eye contact, a patient nod, a whispered prayer where ears cannot hear yet hearts will feel. These offerings cost little, but purchase atmospheres where hope can breathe. Colossians 3:12, clothe yourself with tender-hearted mercy, gentleness and humility, for such attire turns ordinary hallways into sacred corridors of grace. You remember how streams originate, modest springs seeping from rock, gathering strength as they descend. Your wellspring is mercy received, and it presses outward in widening arcs, quiet words, small favors, steady intercessions, until neighborhoods mirror gardens irrigated after drought. When tempted to hoard energy for personal ambition, you picture the Dead Sea, rich in intake yet barren of life. Then you recall the Jordan's unceasing flow and choose to resemble that living ribbon instead. Kindness also speaks in restraint. You skip the clever retort that bruises fragile trust. Soften your tone when deadlines tighten. Grant space for differing viewpoints to settle like snowflakes without forcing uniform shape. In these pauses, peace germinates inside conversations and blossoms later in decisions marked by equity rather than ego. Even digital exchanges bloom when seeded with gratitude. An emoji sun, a concise thank you, a line break that lets weary eyes rest. Outdoors, you notice children chalking rainbows on cracked pavement, and you donate color by kneeling to outline an extra arch. Your knees catch dust, reminding you that generosity often requires proximity, kneeling beside loneliness, bending near grief, stooping to lift what anxiety has dropped. The scent of freshly trimmed grass drifts nearby. Mingling with laughter, you inhale, savoring how communion fragrances the commonplace. Generosity multiplies through creativity. A leftover meal becomes a doorstep surprise for an overworked neighbor. Unused notebooks transform into passports of imagination for schoolchildren. Your lunchtime walk doubles as a litter gathering pilgrimage that polishes the street's dignity. Such deeds, though unnoticed by headlines, ripple into eternity where measurements differ and motives shine brighter than scale. Yet rivers can flood when storms rage. So you tether kindness to wisdom. You set quiet boundaries, acknowledging that even fruitful branches require pruning and rest. Trusting guidance from earlier hours, you accept that some needs belong in divine hands alone. You release those burdens upward like paper lanterns and watch them glow against the expansive sky. As afternoon light angles through office blinds or kitchen windows, you glimpse dust motes swirling in golden shafts, tiny worlds illuminated only when warmth passes through. Likewise, hidden corners of human experience brighten when love filters across them. In that radiance, flaws appear less threatening, fears lose their fangs, and hearts stretch open like morning glory petals tracking the sun. You smile, realizing you are both conduit and witness. Mercy travels through you yet leaves traces of joy within you, ever renewing the supply. The day's pace quickens, but rivers never rush. They persist. You mimic their steadiness, trusting that each drop of kindness, however small, converges with countless others to carve canyons of healing through hardened routines. Evening is still distant, and channels remain wide. Step forward, let compassion keep streaming, and watch desert places bloom beneath your passing shadow. Your shadow lengthens on the afternoon pavement, yet light still wraps your footsteps, assuring you that the sun's slow descent is not an ending, but a graceful bow before evening's quiet stage. You feel the pulse of purpose in every stride, steady, measured, unflustered by passing clouds that briefly dim the sky. Hope anchors deeper than weather, refusing to drift when circumstances shift. It settles like bedrock beneath river currents, unseen yet unwavering. You recall storms survived, nights when confusion howled against windows. Yet dawn always arrived, announcing that faithfulness outlasts fury. Such memory becomes fuel, turning uncertainty from adversary into ally, a canvas upon which trust paints brighter colors. You enter a familiar corridor, perhaps an office buzzing with deadlines, a home humming with chores, and notice how even mundane spaces can echo eternity when viewed through resilient expectation. Fluorescent lights flicker overhead, yet you carry internal brilliance that neither dull switch nor power outage can extinguish. Each conversation becomes an opportunity to plant confident words. You will overcome. There is more ahead. Grace still abounds. Spoken sincerely. These phrases lodge in hearts like seeds awaiting spring. Some may sprout unseen, but their promise lies in the soil of divine constancy. Midday weariness might press against ribs, but hope lifts like a quiet updraft beneath wings. You pause, palms open on your lap, envisioning concerns as feathers released into that breeze, an unfinished project, a medical result pending, a reconciliation not yet realized. They rise, carried by the same faithfulness that spans galaxies, and in their ascent your chest lightens. Around you, the landscape appears ordinary. Traffic hum, kettle whistle, distant dog bark. Yet hope hears harmonies woven beneath those sounds, a divine chorus reiterating, "All shall be well." Remember the oak sapling you passed months ago, once thin as a reed, now sturdy enough for sparrows to claim. Growth, though slow, remains relentless, so too does transformation within you. Patience partners with expectation, teaching that delayed fulfillment is not denial, but design. You picture roots stretching unseen, drawing nourishment from reservoirs hidden beneath dry crusts. Your spirit mirrors that subterranean work, deepening while surface progress seems still. Trust the silence as much as the song. Both are measures of the composer's timing. As afternoon tilts toward evening, light slants amber through trees, gilding leaves with promise. You inhale that glow, exhale gratitude for a future secure in hands that never tremble. Concerns may revisit at dusk, but you arm yourself with recollection. Mercy greeted dawn, renewal filled lungs, guidance shaped steps, kindness cascaded outward. These graces form a chain unbroken, leading inexorably to confident anticipation. You do not conjure optimism through force, you receive certainty as gift, sturdy as mountain ranges that hold the horizon in faithful embrace. Now the first star pricks the sky, tiny yet bold, a reminder that brilliance thrives even when daylight wanes. You mirror its courage by lifting your gaze, whispering a final yes to possibilities still germinating beyond sight. Hope is not wishful thinking, it is covenant memory bound to future fulfillment. With every heartbeat you echo its rhythm, stepping forward into twilight assured that tomorrow's dawn will again proclaim, "Let mercy lead." In these waking hours you have tasted compassion, relinquished regret, breathed renewal, walked under wisdom, and poured kindness until rivers formed. Let this steadfast hope guard your thoughts as daylight stretches ahead. When challenges rise, recall the sunrise within when voices doubt. Hear the whisper that guided your steps. When fatigue lurks, draw from the river you helped fill. Carry the certainty that mercy will meet you again with tomorrow's first light. Rest in that promise, smile at its assurance, breathe once more, and listen.